Hello, hello, beautiful, magical souls, all of you rolling in. So incredible. I'm so excited about all of this. We are going to mute y'all, but if you happen to be unmuted, let's mute. Henry will be on it as well, so that we can have a clear channel here for everyone attending live in the replay. I see some familiar faces. It's so good to see your names and then your beautiful faces on the screen. You do not have to have your video on, but I love it when you do. Extra, extra, because I love to see you in person and just connect in that way and come as you are. All of you is welcome. I've had women in my clients show up to Zooms laying in bed with the covers up over them, and it's all welcome. So thank you. Also, when you tune in, we're going to get started in just a second with the circle of light, but go ahead and just drop where you're tuning in from so that we can tap into your energy and connect the grid all over the world. I'm really excited to be here with y'all tonight. There's a lot of energy, a lot of emotions. I've had, if you ask my team, and maybe I'll tell you all about it later, but I just had the most wild interactions in the last 10 minutes and some really magical relationships that have been healed through the work I'm going to talk to y'all about tonight. And it's just been really beautiful. So awesome. Ashley, we're glad you're here. Just drop in the chat where you're from. Hi, beautiful. You're in Vegas. We've missed you. We've missed you. All right. So as you're dropping in where you're tuning in from, you can also drop in how you're feeling. I'm going to go ahead and just cast a circle of light. And if you're new to my world, whether watching the live or the replay, I noticed that I'm freezing. So hopefully, let me talk to my team. Make sure that that's not completely on my end before I continue. Pennsylvania, Minnesota. Okay, perfect. It says I'm not, it's just on my end. Lakeway, yes, Rachel, I'm so glad you're here. Minnesota, Pennsylvania, the Philippines, welcome, Maryland, Saskatchewan. I love saying Saskatchewan. Fort Worth, hello, hello. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cast a circle of light. And what I was saying before we dive into this is that when if you're new to my world, casting a circle of light is simply me setting the container, setting my prayers, the light, making sure that this container is of the highest light and the highest energy that we are residing in, right? We're all connecting energetically. And I imagine a beautiful white net being cast over us all over the world, but specifically in this container, okay? So we're going to cast a circle of light, specifying that my core healing team, in conjunction with Source Creator God, as well as your souls and your healing teams, be present for this beautiful transmission of Hustle the Harmony. I ask that all of our divine channels of communication be cleared, including but not limited to our clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, claircognizant, psychic, telepathic, transmedium, kundalini, sexual, and tantra channels, so that you can be a clear conduit to receive the information from Source Creator God, the universe, your ancestors that are well-heeled and wise, from your galactic family, your angelic realm guides, those that are meant to here to gift you with higher frequency information. We ask to take all four etheric bodies up in frequency, mental, emotional, spiritual, and of course, this dense physical body, activating as much light as possible with the most human comfort. We also ask that per each individual soul's guidance, per your soul's guidance, that you get access to deeper levels of the portals of power of information and crystalline books of information that are housed within your chakra systems that are inside and outside of the body. So we want those repaired, realigned, and even replaced per your soul's guidance for you to access more. My intention for Hustle the Harmony is simply that you receive exactly what you're meant to receive and leave the rest. I want to gift you with what I know to be true. And what I want you to activate within yourself is coming back home to you, to your truth, to your power, and to your sovereignty, knowing that my word is not law, but that each of your words for your own self is law. And as always, we give infinite gratitude to the one love, one light, source, creator, God, for all of us, and all of this is possible. Awesome. Hello, hello. I love seeing these beautiful, beautiful faces. All right. I want you to use the chat and to engage as much as possible. Okay. I'm just checking one more time because a lot of y'all are freezing up for me, and I want to make sure that I'm not freezing up for you. But I think my team will tell me in the chat if that is the case. I want you to engage. I want you, if something resonates with you, drop it in the chat. If you have a question that's relating to what I'm talking about, drop it in the chat. If I have time and it's in the flow of the conversation, then I will absolutely answer. And if not, don't worry. I'm going to have an opportunity I'm going to be sharing later on that will be for answering questions specifically. Okay. So let me put this on so I can see all y'all's faces all big. All right. Okay. So again, I want you to engage. You are here. You signed up for this, and you can let me know if that's not the case, but you signed up for this because there's a part of you that is overwhelmed, that's exhausted, that's maybe frustrated about all of your life or aspects of your life, whether it's your life, your relationships, your businesses. You feel like maybe you're a little bit stuck in that hustle and that burnout cycle. Maybe you feel like you're trapped in those control frequencies. Maybe you're just unhappy and you know that there is another way, that there's got to be another way, right? And that is what I want to shed light on for you today, because I want to tell you that there is a way. There is a way for you to create and to live a life of just peace and happiness and bliss, to have sustainable energy in your life, your relationships, and your businesses. So I wanted to share something as we get started here. And I have this little list here on my phone that I took a questionnaire. Okay. And the questionnaire was asking women in my vortex, if you will, why it is they want to heal the hustle, why they want to take this journey, why they want to go to harmony, why they want to experience this healing process. They want to get to the aspect of harmony and happiness. And I just want to share just a few of these to see if you resonate. Okay. Some of the quick answers were anxiety. I want to heal my life. I want to know what goddess energy feels like, how to be at peace within my body and soul. How do I transform what I'm feeling now to something better? Healing myself, healing. I want to live in harmony to my fullest. Somebody, I'm just reading these for the first time. I love this honesty. Somebody said, if I'm being completely honest, I want to hear Echo's juicy story. I love that. Learning to love my life without constant hustle, ways to reduce stress, ways to live with more ease and joy, connecting with the feminine. I want to be more present. I want to learn to live in harmony. I want to have success in business, but without burning myself out. These are just a few of the things that y'all told me when it comes to why we heal the hustle, why we want to heal from the burnout. And in less than 90 minutes, I want to share with you, not only is it possible, but I want to give you an overview of how I've done it and how the hundreds of women I've worked with have done it, and how you can also do it without burning yourself out, signing up for a million different mentors and offers and classes. I want to show you that it's all here for you. And I also want you to know that I'm still on this journey. Perfection, you know, one of my mottos, if you're in my world, perfection doesn't live here. Okay. I'm walking side by side with you. And I've done this work, and the transformation that has occurred over the last 6 years of doing this work has completely changed my life drastically. And for those of you, I've got a few of my best friends on here that have known me for 10, 11, 12 years, and they can attest that I'm literally a completely different human. The work I'm going to share with you took me from unhappy to happy. It took my marriage from complacent and rocky to healthy, to thriving. It took me literally having zero sexual and sensual energy in the last, say, 12 years. Before that, I was really promiscuous because that was a trauma response, right? To the best energy, right? To feeling completely connected to my sexuality and my sensuality. It took me from surface level friendships with just one or two really good friends to a beautiful, powerful, sacred sisterhood. I healed my trauma through this work. I fell in love with myself through this work. I discovered who I was through this work. One of the biggest pieces is that I learned to forgive myself, but most importantly, forgive others through this work. I went from being not present at all to fully present. A present parent, a present friend, a present spouse. And it wasn't until I started this journey at 33 years old, 6 years ago, that my eyes were opened. And I'm going to tell you some of that story and where I was and where I came from. And I'm going to tell you how I got to where I am today. Again, not perfect by any means, but the way I used to be and do for 33 years is not in my vortex anymore. And I'm happier, healthier than I've ever been in my entire life because of this work. It still amazes me when I look back and reflect at how deep I was in the collective and societal programming of the hustle and that wounded masculine energy. We're going to talk about the energies in a little bit. That wounded masculine is that control, that force, that push, that pull, that drag energy, right? And that's my definition of hustle, by the way, is the push, force, pull, drag energy to achieve some kind of external perceived version of success, right? If you know Soul Up and my mission now, and you didn't know my previous iteration of Echo was Rhino Up. You got to have thick skin, no excuse, just push through. It doesn't matter. It was so hardcore, right? Definitely not the same person. Nothing wrong. We still work hard, which you're going to know, what you're going to hear about, but we don't force things anymore. And I just hosted this year's Soul Up retreat and had just the most magical experience. I didn't think we were going to top last year's, but we did. And client after client was having these deep conversations, right? And I was talking to one of my clients there, and it was such a beautiful space to just reflect on her transformation. And she was in tears at one point, just telling me how much her life had changed. And I'm probably going to cry this entire time, on and off. Just get used to that. I'm an open-hearted, crying vessel here, okay? But she was just telling me how much her life has changed since doing this work. And one of the things that she said was she's so much slower to react to the chaos that shows up around her. How she feels peace in her days. She's not in this constant fight or flight mode anymore. And if you're here, whether you're live or watching the replay later, there's this calling that you're hearing. I believe that you're listening to this stirring in your soul. I know deep down that you know that there is something more to access for you. There's something more in the way of peace. You know, the simplest way that I can describe my mission, and my team asked me this the other day and said, what ultimately, what do you want to do? How do you want to help the women of the world? What do you want to help them do? I sat there and I sat there and I said, honestly, the simplest way I can put it is I want women to really be freaking happy. Really. And I say really in big, bold, really happy, not Instagram happy, where it's like, my life is perfect and everything's fine. And I want you to be really happy. There's a difference between being Instagram happy and really happy. And I want you to be truly happy and at peace. And my goal of Hustle to Harmony is to show you that you can live in a state of peace, that you can rediscover and awaken who you truly are through connection to your divine feminine essence that's stirring within you. Because I can tell you, if you're in the wounded masculine, if you're in the hustle, then you are disconnected from a feminine aspect of you that's waiting to come out. That you can release these control frequencies, keeping you in this constant perpetual loop of not feeling good enough through perfection. That you can reframe the limiting beliefs that are keeping you playing small. That you have access, people call me woo woo, whatever, but you have access to spiritual gifts. I'm a psychic, you're a psychic. Don't believe me? Go on this journey. We all have access. And I wasn't always here. Like I said, 6 years ago, you would have met a year ago, a month ago, you would have met a different Echo. But 6 years ago would have been a real drastic shift in who you met. And a little backstory for those of you new to me, I had a really traumatic upbringing. I endured a lot of sexual abuse as a child and throughout my life. It's part of one of the soul contracts that I had to go through and to heal through and to rise from, to then help other women heal from that kind of trauma. But I'm telling you that because that, honestly, enduring what I endured, and it doesn't have to be that kind of trauma for you. It could be parents might have been a little bit disconnected. They wanted you to be super independent, so they made you do everything, whatever it is. But our hustle energy comes from somewhere. It may have not started till high school for you. I don't know. Mine started very young. I learned to be very independent very young. Okay. I learned that I was the only thing that I trusted. And even then later on learned I didn't even trust myself. Right. But that's where my hustle started, because I knew I had to be independent, don't need anybody's help, don't want anybody's help. It's all me, whatever, like, nobody's safe. I got me. And I took that all through my childhood. Got my first job at 14, moved out graduated when I was 16, moved out when I was 17. All I knew was I need to get out into the world, make some money, to be on my own, to be safe, to just get out of my parentals and family lifestyle that I was in and get out. So I was immediately, from a very young age, go, 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 hustle, 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 do, survive, survive, survive. All I knew was survival. So my body, which we'll talk about later, was in a constant state of fight or flight. My central nervous system was screwed. And that continued. I was always really good. I've always kind of been an entrepreneur. I've always been really good at hustling. I've always been really good at surviving, sometimes thriving. And at 30 years old, the month before my 30th birthday, I had my son. And 6 months after he was born, or when he was born, I decided, I used to own a social media agency and do all the things. I decided I wasn't going to, and I did coaching and stuff like that. I've been a life coach, transformational coach for 13 years. And I decided I wasn't taking on any more clients just to be a mom. Then 6 months postpartum, my husband's a firefighter, got injured on the job, got unlawfully terminated from that department, and we had nothing. Immediately, my system, fight or flight, right? and I knew how to work. We were getting foreclosure notices in the mail, terrified. So what did I do? I found another way, found a new career, a new business, and started running with it and became very successful. Right? I found a product that I love. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into my network marketing story on that end. Loved it, ran with it, became very successful in 3 years, hit the top rank in the company, blah, 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 blah. And at 33 years old, hustle, 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 made my first million. And I looked in the mirror and I was the unhappiest and unhealthiest I'd ever been. And I was like, if this is success, I don't want it. All the money in the world could not make me happy right now. I was diagnosed with neurological Lyme disease. I had a very unhealthy relationship with alcohol. And I was numbing out with alcohol to keep myself from ever feeling anything. I was numbing out with work to keep me from feeling anything. I was in pure, it was my rock bottom. I don't know a better definition for me than rock bottom to make $1 million and to hit such a thing and have the most money you've ever had in your bank account and all these accolades and all this stuff, and then be freaking depressed and anxious and lonely and sad. I was sick, literally, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually sick. And when I had this epiphany one day, that night, I was laying in bed and I was crying. And this voice came in and spoke to me. And granted, this was 6 years ago, before I knew that what all this stuff was, what all of the spiritual stuff was. Now, very quickly, I remembered, I was shown that I had all these gifts as a kid, but a lot of us shut them down. That's a wholly different story until we're ready. But I guess I was ready because my soul came in and spoke to me, and in so many words said, you know that there's a better way. There's a path that you get to take filled with light. And this path is here for you. And after I freaked out a little bit, there was a voice talking into my head, but nobody was there. I calmed down and I rested into the energy. And from that point forward, everything changed. But I knew that there had to be another way. Now, a little bit before we get into more of this, the meat and potatoes, when I had my spiritual awakening and I opened up my divine feminine channel and all my channels out of hustle, I knew I couldn't hustle anymore. That was pretty much the message. Like, I can't keep doing this at all in any capacity. So what I did was, and I swung way from the wounded masculine of hustle, 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 all the way over to the feminine. But what usually happens for myself, a lot of my clients, is when we are so terrified to ever feel that hustle again, to ever feel that burnout, that exhaustion, that overwhelm, we usually swing way to the feminine, but then it's not the divine feminine. We think it is for a while, but it ends up being a lot of the wounded feminine, very laissez-faire, just like, oh, like, come feed me grapes, you know, like it comes into an energy that is not actually healthy. We want to go to the divine feminine energy, which we're going to talk about, right? And that happens a lot in this journey. So don't think that when you lay down the hustle, you heal the hustle, that it means you don't actually work hard, because that's not the case. Okay. I've learned through what I'm going to share with y'all tonight how to integrate and embody the divine feminine while also harmonizing with the divine masculine to create that sustainable life, relationships, business. as the spiritually awakened woman, as the divine feminine in your power and your priestesshood, right? You get to be it all, but it doesn't mean that you just quit working. But for a lot of us, that's where we swing first, because we have to just almost rest so much to where we can try to start calibrating and recalibrating and regulating our central nervous system. And that's why I say that I want to be, and I was gifted with this download many, many ceremonies ago, that I'm here to be that bridge from the spiritual realms, right? The divine feminine spiritual realm aspect. There's a lot of divine masculine, of course, in the spiritual realms, but the spiritual realm in connection with the divine feminine, but anchored into the physical world to create those 3D tangible transformations, so that you can actually see results in all of this spiritual divine feminine work. You can actually see real results in your life, because we're in these 3D experiences and we have to have tangible results, right? And also celebrating. And after we had the retreat, it's like, I didn't even celebrate this online, I don't think, but 4 years ago, 2 years into my journey, again, I don't teach anything that I'm not embodied in and fully in, okay, and fully filled, that I am invested and doing the work in a way that I'm there, right? And it took me 2 years before I got that calling to create Soul Up, right? We're going to talk about that later, but it was because I saw the need for this kind of support. I saw the need for this kind of like connection. And I saw people out there teaching spiritual work and divine feminine work here and there, but I didn't see the tangible parts to it. It seemed very airy fairy to me, if you will, right? So that's how we call it. So, I did things here at 39 years old, 39 and a half, as my son would say, or almost 40, as he would say. I did things the hard way for 33 years. And if you've been struggling and you've been wondering, there's some kind of disconnect. What's disconnected? Like, oh, something. I'm unhappy. I don't feel worthy. Fear, limiting beliefs. For a lot of the women that are attracted to my work, they don't even feel like the woman, because they carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. They do, go. And they don't even feel connected to their sensuality and sexuality. And so for 33 years, that's how I was. And I still peel back layers to this day. I walked through the hardest trauma of my life a year ago, and I just now, a month and a half ago, came through this next level portal where I don't even recognize myself. It's always about evolution. It's always about continued ascension and growth and transformation. So you can continue to do things the hard way, right? We all can. And you can continue to go down this path of not being happy or burning out, or where your relationships feel unfulfilling, but you know that there's magic. You know that there's something more for you. And so I want to share with you how the secrets, if you will, the pillars of what I call the pillars of my success, that took me from that wounded, unhappy, unhealthy, unfulfilled woman to who I am today. And that's what I want to share with you. And I just want to remind you that we are in this together. And there's so much that I'm going to be giving away here for free right now, and all over the internet all the time. But in full disclosure, I'm telling you that later on, you're going to want to stick around later, because I do have some surprises for you. But I'm going to share with you the way to continue on this journey. That is what I call the Soul Up way. And we have a lot of surprises for you as well. Okay. But this is for you if you are ready to really, really step into that next level of alignment and happiness. Somebody asked me the other day, and I don't think about it when you're in this world, you don't often think about certain things because it's so second nature to me, to you. And somebody said, what does alignment mean? I was like, wow, that's actually a really good question. And it's also interesting that right before I got asked this question, I switched things. So I've always said, and many of you have, let me know. I'm so excited y'all are here too. You always hear mind, body, soul, right? Mind, body, soul. Okay. I usually say mind, body, soul, business. But before that alignment question got asked, I had literally just dropped into my team, into our Voxer. And I said, you know what? I said, I teach that, and we're going to talk about this in a minute. I teach that the mind is only 10% of the equation. Why are we leading with the mind? And I said, okay, now we're going to lead in the soul up way. Okay. And that is soul, body, mind. And alignment is when you feel a purity, when you feel a harmonizing energy, when you feel the harmony between all aspects of your life. Alignment doesn't mean it's 25% here, 25% here, 25% here, 25% here. It means that there's a natural flow of peace and grace and love and everything just those, those days where like everything's just going my way. Everything is perfect. Oh my gosh, life is so bad. And everything just keeps falling into place. That's what alignment feels like. And that's actually your birthright. Right? Now, there's some people that are watching this that might be thinking, well, I don't have time for any of this. I'm barely on this call. I'm watching the replay right now and I don't even know what I'm doing here because I don't have time for this. I've got a pile of clothes to do and I don't have time for this. I'm a busy woman. I get it. I really do. But, and we're going to talk about this later. I'm like, we're going to talk about this later. We still have an hour together. If you don't have time to enhance your life in a way that creates more happiness and joy and love and success and connection, then what are we living for? Right? But this work that I'm going to share with you tonight changed lives. I was talking to one of my clients a few weeks ago and her story always sticks out to me. And she's this incredible, powerful woman. And like many of my clients, all of us, not even many of my clients, every single one of us on here, let's be honest, we don't know the full scope of our power. We don't see how incredible we are like other people see us half the time, right? And it's the same for this client. And of course, I'm not going to say her name, but this client, her story sticks out to me because she's somebody that I love dearly and work closely with. And it just shows the transformation of this work. And I want to share that with you before we dive in. I was talking to her and this woman is powerful. Like I said, she doesn't know her own power to the full extent. She knows it, but she doesn't know it. And she goes back and forth and she struggles a lot with OCD. She struggles a lot with fear. And she has this habit, again, powerful woman, successful businesswoman, smartest person I know. And she struggles with these OCD tendencies. And if she goes outside and comes in, she has to shower. She has to wash her hands, wash her feet, like clean everything before she'd even get in bed. Right. And she came into our Voxer and just came in to celebrate. And she said, oh my gosh, who am I? She said, I came in from outside and I was able, I washed my hands like a normal person. She goes, but I didn't have to shower and like wash every inch of my body and scrub my feet. And like, I was able to crawl in bed without any fear. And her fear was debilitating. Her fear around these germs and stuff is like, if she wouldn't have showered and then she got in bed, her whole family's going to die. But through our work together and through the depths of the work that I'm going to teach you and talk to you about tonight, she's been able to heal from the inside out on a soul level, on a spiritual level, on a physical level, healing her central nervous system, releasing the limiting beliefs, And the power of this work, I have testimony after testimony after testimony outside of the 1,000 testimonies I could tell you about for myself. So let me ask you a question. And I just want to see in the chat. If I were to tell you that you could reconnect, or even this might be the first time, not even reconnecting, because until 33 years ago, I didn't even know what that meant. Connecting with calm and peace and joy in your day. You could connect to a higher divinity within yourself, seeing your own power, and that you could stop the exhaustive burnout cycles. Would you even want to? Not willing, but is there this desire to? Because I believe that you are here. Even if you've done a lot of this work, you're going to learn something tonight. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but you will. You're going to hear something that you needed to be reminded of. You're going to hear something. Yes, yes, yes. You're going to hear something for the first time. I have clients of mine that had their spiritual awakenings 20 years ago. Right? I am no better than any of y'all. We're on this, like I said, together. Sometimes stuff that comes out of my own mouth in these, I needed to hear. Right? So I guarantee that you're going to hear something tonight that can impact your life in a positive way. Yes, 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 yes. I love seeing all those. Absolutely. So I encourage you to stay engaged through this, because at the end and towards the end, I'm going to show you an embodiment practice. We're going to do a little somatic breath, and I've got some surprises up my sleeves for those of you. And a lot of you are already in my community, so you're going to be so excited, or you know what's coming up because you were at the retreat or whatever. But I am going to give you the first look at my new Oracle deck that got delivered today. And I have some other really great surprises for y'all. Okay. But first, I want to share with y'all these pillars, the Soul Up Way pillars. My journey, people ask, like, well, did you want to heal the hustle first, or did you want to get out of that, or did your spiritual awakening happen, or the divine feminine, blah, 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 blah. It all comes, it's like chicken before the egg, because it all was literally same day. When I just had my spiritual awakening, the first big one, when I decided to stop killing myself, literally. And when I discovered that I actually wanted to feel like a woman. 6 years ago, I didn't even know what divine feminine meant. Right? So this is what I call the Soul Up Way. It is my journey through the soul, body, mind alignment. Okay. So we have 8 pillars of the Soul Up Way. These 8 pillars are what really create this pathway. Okay. And we're going to dive into each of these a little bit. So it's limiting beliefs, divine feminine, conscious relationships, healing the hustle, alchemy, spiritual awakening work, calm CNS, so central nervous system, which includes somatics, meditations, and activations. Okay. So limiting beliefs, right? I said mine is and these are my opinions, my perspective. Limiting beliefs are really important, right? And to dissect, to heal, to gain awareness around. But mind is only 10% of it. And when you can unlock that 10%, it's kind of like if you have 10% effort into this, but it makes you all your money. Think of it that way, right? Once you unlock these pieces of yourself, you're going to see every other aspect of your life transform. So limiting beliefs are those deep-seated thoughts and patterns that hold us in this place where how we see things, how we function, how we experience the world. And a lot of times, well, all the time, limiting beliefs are of the lower frequency, right? Or what people call negative. And most, if not, well, I would say, let's just say 99% of limiting beliefs, just for woo-woo's sake, are not true. They're made up. Okay. But we perceive life through these limiting beliefs and then therefore take action in our life based on these limiting beliefs. It holds us back from achieving our goals, hindering our personal growth. We don't create, a limitless life. We limit ourselves. And all of these limiting beliefs come from past experiences, our upbringing, societal influences, the collective, Instagram ads, our own personal insecurities, right? And so identifying limiting beliefs is very important. And when you start to identify limiting beliefs, and we do, again, this is a pillar, this is a big chunk of my work, you start to also then uncover subconscious beliefs. Okay. And we have to identify what these belief systems are that are keeping us from there. And there is a process, right? There's a process that I take you through where you unpack, if you will, your life, your thoughts, your experiences, and why you are the way you are. So an example is I just had a subconscious belief show up about a month and a half ago that I didn't realize was deeply seated there. And through the belief system work and the limiting belief upheaval work that I do, I was able to witness it. And this belief was very sneaky. So for a while, I felt stuck in my business and in my mission. I was like, I'm doing all of the right things, but something is off energetically, and I don't know what it is. But through my processes that I walk you through to unpack limiting beliefs, I realized that I had this sneaky subconscious belief there that said, and this could be a limiting belief for you, so listen up for sure, that you can't have really big success and a thriving, happy family life. You can't be a really successful person and be completely tuned in and present and happy and fulfilled in your family life. That was a subconscious limiting belief that was running under the surface, keeping me energetically tied to that story, therefore showing up in other ways, which we talk about in our limiting belief work, where I was self-sabotaging myself and just completely staying out of energetic alignment with my mission, doing all the things, but my spiritual compass and my energy was not. And energy is everything, right? And let me take it a little bit deeper for you, how I started to unpack this. Well, why would I have that limiting belief? Well, I watched my mom work her tail off, hustle, hustle, hustle. But at the time, she had an addiction. We didn't see it. I don't know where the money went. She'd work really hard. And we survived, of course, but didn't really see money. And she was never really around a lot. My dad, both of my parents, whom I love dearly, lots of healing there throughout the Soul Up way. Okay, lots of healing. My dad was very successful, always paid his child support, but I never saw the money and my dad was never around. So I was never shown a really successful, thriving family and somebody who was really successful in business. It was success and business and hustling kept me from having the happy family in it, right? That's the story that was being cultivated underneath the surface. So therefore, I started to sabotage myself in big, beautiful ways, right? So again, we dive deep into this limiting belief work in the Soul Up way, that journey, the pillars. But 75% of this work when it comes to this is awareness. This is how I teach everything. I can teach all of this stuff. And 75% is the awareness and 25% is then taking action. So you can hear all this stuff tonight and you're going to hear things and you're going to start to ask yourself like these questions. But if you don't then start to take action on it, you're not going to see. And that's the same thing with limiting beliefs. You discover a limiting belief, and then you have to disrupt the pattern. You have to change the paradigm. You have to start taking action as if you know that that's not true. Right? Somebody just asked, is this kind of like shadow work? We do a lot of shadow work, but again, it's diving deep into things and then creating that tangible result. So shadow work is definitely talked about, and it's actually in our spiritual ascension and awakening pillar more than anything, right? So we then have the pillar of the divine feminine, which might be one of my favorite topics, right? As a divine feminine embodiment mentor, it is one of my favorite things to talk about and discuss. And so when we are in the pillar of the divine feminine and we're going on that journey, it's important though that you are very, very in tune with the history, so to speak, of the divine feminine. How many of you feel connected to your sexuality, your sensuality, like you feel like a woman? You know what I'm talking about. Like you feel like a woman, you feel like a sexual, sensual, powerful, sweet, kind, gentle, nurturing, yes, fierce and powerful, but you feel, you know what I'm saying when I say, do you feel like a woman? I want to know if you feel like a woman, right? So with the story, I feel oh my gosh, that might be the best. Somebody Alexandra said, I feel like a rock. I love this. I love it so much. And the reason I ask it in that way is because 6 years ago, I didn't know what divine feminine meant. I was like, what's divine feminine? Like, man. It's like, so the best way I can say it is like, do you feel like a woman? Right. But I want to share with you kind of some of the story of the divine feminine or the feminine. So, and I've wrote some posts on this too, but we're going to go through this quickly because I realized like, oh my gosh, we only have 40 minutes left. Okay. So that for millennia, the feminine was adored, valued, honored, respected, deemed worthy. The priestesses, the goddesses, the queens, the healers, the seers, the community leaders were adored, right? And then a couple thousand years ago, per Gaia's soul contract, per all of our soul contracts, the patriarchal society was ushered in, where women were stripped of their power. Women were made to seem weak. Women were then taught to be objectified. Women in their sexuality and sensuality were called whores. Women of power, healers and seers, were called witches and burned at the stakes. Per our soul contract, it's all beautiful, but it was stripped from us. But then back in the 60s and 70s, when the feminism act really ramped up, became rampant, I think the intention was pure, but I have a different version of feminism and the feminist act and the revolution. I think the intention was pure of saying we want to be seen and valued as equals, meaning I want to be seen as valued. I want the world to feel that I'm valuable because I am a woman. But how the mark was missed and what I feel ultimately put us into this hustle culture and hustle paradigm that we've all experienced is they were instead fighting to be equal and saying things like, I can do anything a man can do, and burning bras and completely going into this tough girl, wounded masculine energy to be seen as equal, instead of leaning into, I just want to be valued for being a woman. For my femininity, I don't want it to be seen as less than. For my sexuality, my sensuality, my gifts, my wisdom, right? So it threw us into this hustle culture, which we see today. Right? And that is why the work and the Soul Up way and how I teach it is the way of the divine feminine, the priestess path, and really activating that divine feminine so you can lay down a lot of that hustle so that you can reconnect with your sensuality and your sexuality and feel safe with it, which includes a lot of healing the trauma. I didn't feel safe with the masculine for most of my life. Yes, I had a lot of sexual trauma and trauma that contributed to that, but I have friends and clients galore that have never been abused in those ways and still don't trust the masculine. And when I say don't trust the masculine, I mean you are in control. You don't feel connected to your sensuality or sexuality. You wear the pants in your relationship, right? You don't feel like a woman. Until I was connected and healed these things through this path, I was really promiscuous before my husband, and then with my husband, I could care less until I healed this stuff layer by layer. And now we have what I call like the sex life that you see in the movies, you know, not necessarily 50 Shades of Grey. Don't get your mind there, but we have an incredible sex life where I feel, I saw Sherry laugh, where I feel safe in my body to be fully seen. And until you awaken and activate and reconnect to your divine feminine essence and heal those parts of yourself through this journey, you don't even want to see yourself, much less be witnessed in all of your purity and expression by those that you love, by your spouse. It doesn't feel safe. And that's what this divine feminine work can do for you, right? Another pillar that I'm so passionate about, and I cannot wait for next year because my husband and I are going to open back up our signature program, The Conscious Couple, because we have walked through hell and back in the last year and accessed more healing and wisdom than we ever knew possible. We thought we were good a couple years ago. And then this last year hit, and coming out the other side is so incredible. But a part of this is conscious relationships, and not just relationships with a spouse, relationships with sisters, with family, with your kids, with friends. How many of you have sisterhood wounds where you are always getting hurt by other people? Where you don't feel like you have anybody close to you? Creating conscious relationships and building conscious relationships, what I want to give you for that tonight is that it starts with radical responsibility, just like this entire journey does. It starts with you saying, there's a reason that I'm attracting these people into my life. You know, the whole, like, when somebody's like, what is it about me that's, and then the friend's like, oh, it's nothing. It's them, not you. Right. And it's like, the truth is there's a piece of it that is you. And that's not to shame anybody, because I'm saying that to myself too. You're not asking for terrible friends, but because when we are a vibrational match to something, like attracts like at some level, law of vibration, right? Law of attraction. So again, you're not asking for it. Nobody asked to be hurt. Nobody asked to do all that. Speaking from my own experience, right? There's no shame or guilt that needs to be carried. It's like, what can I take responsibility for and clean up? In conscious relationships, for me, that looked like boundaries, right? What kind of boundaries do I have? Well, none. Oh, okay, well, there's a big problem. What kind of communication am I having? Really weak communication, scared communication, trying to appease everybody, right? So you have to take responsibility. And we do that by going back, and we do a big chunk of that in our limiting belief work. But you go back and you go, oh, okay, well, I don't believe that I'm worthy of having close friends, or I don't believe I'm worthy of having a good man or a good woman. I don't believe I'm worthy of this, that, and that, and that. And then we start to dissect and heal that, so that then you come to center, and then I'm worthy of this, and I have boundaries and standards, and I know how to communicate my desires, my needs, my standards, my boundaries through sacred communication, which we teach in conscious relationships. And then you start to notice a lot of people fall away, because when you start to transform, you're not going to be the same person. And if they're not doing the work, then they're not going to be a vibrational match for you anymore. And that's okay. But then as they fall away, you're going to notice a ton of other magical beings and experiences come into your life to continue to teach you, to help you grow, right? But conscious relationships are a part of this way of being, and it takes time. Even in the last 6 months, I've learned some really challenging lessons in sacred sisterhood. In the last year, I've evolved and grown night and day in my marriage. But I know that I'm here, and everything I'm either learning or I'm learning. Right? That should be a Soul Up Way slogan. You learn or you learn. But you have to take radical responsibility. Another one of the pillars, which kind of encompasses everything, is healing the hustle. Right? This is in life. Hi, babies. My boys just got home. This is in life. This is in relationships. This is in business, because I'm speaking to you. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or a woman in business or corporate America or whatever, or if you're a woman that stays at home with her children and raises those babies. Because I can tell you that I have clients on both ends of the spectrum, meaning women in business, no kids, women in business with kids, stay at home mom, all the things. And can we stop calling them stay at home moms too? Because do stay at home moms really like stay at home? No, it's like sports and appointments and doing this and do it. It's like stay 50% home mom, right? So it's for anyone. I'm even speaking, and this makes me emotional because I have young sisters. Okay. I have little sisters that are 25 now. And this is for that generation too, that doesn't want to follow in the paths of this hustle. Can you imagine? I get emotional because can you imagine having access to this work at a young age? I have clients with 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 and beyond children, and they share this work with their kids, and it makes me so freaking happy. Can you imagine being so connected to who you are, to being proud of being a woman, to knowing your boundaries, to not having these creepy, all the time limiting beliefs in high school or college? And I get emotional thinking about my younger sisters, my little sisters, because I'm like, damn, if I would have been 25, 26 and knew all of this, I could have saved like a lot of heartache, a lot of time, and a lot of energy, but I was meant to walk through it, right? But this is why I say this work is for any woman, anywhere on her journey. And healing the hustle is about life, relationships, business. I know women like myself how I used to hustle in life, hustle in business, hustle in relationships, all the things. And like I said earlier, a part of the Soul Up Way is learning to harmonize the divine feminine, divine masculine. Because a lot of times when people start to heal the hustle, they swing way to the feminine and they lack all of the divine masculine structure and strategy and systems and foundation. The divine masculine is your foundation, which you will learn. That's where the divine feminine then gets to flow and just create and inspire and be the loving, beautiful, nurturing mother. You know, if you think about, here's how you know if you're in hustle. This is kind of a good definition of that hustle control energy. Is sadly, when you think of the mother, mothering energy is very controlling. Do this, don't do this, pick up this, don't do this, right? Whereas when you're in your divine feminine mothering energy, you learn through our conscious relationship work and sacred communication how to mother from a place like a divine mother. Still one with boundary standards, upholding, you know, the standards of respect and all of those kind of things, but from a place where you're not like, right? And so in Healing the Hustle, we learn to harmonize the divine feminine and the divine masculine. We know when to turn one on a little bit more than the other. You learn in your business through Healing the Hustle that you don't have to be in lack. You don't have to force things. You don't have to chase things. You don't have to do things out of alignment to make a dollar, because in Healing the Hustle, we also learn how to heal all those money wounds, all of those money energetics and wealth energetics that are keeping you in a place of lack, causing you to be in hustle. Always feeling like there's never enough, never feeling good enough. She's doing this, so I should do that. It's a prime example of going into hustle, right? She's doing it better than me. I need to do that too. So one of the biggest things with Healing the Hustle and this whole entire journey, the Soul Up way, and I want to share this with y'all tonight, and this is actually in one of the pillars, but I want to share you one of my biggest teachings, okay? Because this is literally I would say the number one thing you have to, not what I'm going to teach you, but this, what I'm about to say is the number one thing that you have to get really comfortable doing in order to go on the Soul Up way path and to do all of this work is learning to slow down. Tell some of y'all like, I can't slow down. I'm too busy for that. I'm too busy. I know. I was there, right? We're all busy. But if you don't have time to slow down, to take care of yourself, self-care, spiritual care, then what are you doing it for if you're not going to be happy? So I want to teach you one of my best practices for slowing down, okay? Before we move on to chatting about the next pillar, and then I have all the surprises. I've got some of the little surprises right here, but I can't show you yet. Okay. I want to teach you one of my teachings that will help you no matter who you are. Because a lot of people say, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do this. But with this practice that I've been teaching for years and years, what I call MTMs, they're mindful transition meditations. Okay. Anybody can do this. And this is so simple that people are going to say, I could do that. And then guess what happens? They don't do it. And then guess what happens after that? They're in the same place that they were a month ago. So what I'm about to teach you, I encourage you to commit to for at least 10 days. Find an accountability partner, which you're going to have lots of after this. Speak to your mentor, tell your husband, tell your spouse, tell your kids, have somebody to help hold you accountable and check in with you, your best friend. So how MTMs work is, if I want to tell you about I'm going to share a day with you without MTMs, without mindful transition meditations. I love that. Patsy says MTMs have been the simplest yet most profound tool I've added to my days. I love that. And hi, Patsy. So a day without MTMs is a normal day for most of us, right? You wake up a little bit late, you're freaking out because you're late. You're running, you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Crap, I'm running late. I gotta feed the kids. And you run to the kids, y'all are probably gonna get a little anxiety. So just breathe through this because this gives me a little bit of heart flutter, just trying to giving you this example. You're going to feed the kids, and then you get the kids and you feed them, and then you're rushing through the house because you're late. So you trip over the dog going to search for food. You stump your toe. You can't. So then you have to sit there for a second and breathe because you're saying all these curse words. Da, da, da. You get in the car. Everybody's finally in the car. You're still running late. You're speeding to get the kids to school. Cop pulls you over because you were speeding. Guess what? That adds on another 10 minutes of being late. Whoa, okay, we're late again. Finally get to work. You get to work. Your coworker's mad, angry, whatever. You're pissed off. You're angry. Your work sucks, and then whatever, right? Just an example. You get home at the end of the day with all that energy. Kids get home. You're a cranky mama. Okay. You burn the food in the oven. You go to bed pissed, unhappy, filled with regret, shame, and guilt. Okay. Just throwing that out there as a day. Okay. Not a day that I used to have, never, but a day. Okay. So with MTMs, it's very simple, no matter what your day looks like. And this is why it takes radical responsibility, going back to this work, radical responsibility, and commitment. Okay. So mindful transition meditations are simply taking 30, 60, 90 seconds in between every task you do. That's it. So what this looks like is, I'll tell you, I'll just go through a little bit of my day, okay? Usually you're going to have 30 to 60 tasks, which means 30 to 60 minutes of intentional time. And I'm going to tell you why we do this, but let me give you a preface of what the day could look like. Waking up. I never just jump out of bed, ever, by the way. Hand on the heart even. Just breathing, closing your eyes, being present, breathing into your heart, whatever it is. Okay. Then get up, do the next thing, brush the teeth, go make the breakfast. For me, if Danny's not home, because when he's home, he makes me my coffee and stuff, but I'll get up, make the coffee. After I get my coffee made, I stand there, wake Harrison up, get Harrison woke up, do the breakfast for him. Another example is going after this. I'm going to go eat dinner, but before I jump up from this, $30, $60, $90 seconds. If you need to do it to where it's real simple, 10 deep breaths. And if that's all you're focusing on is counting the breaths, then you're coming back into regulation. You're calming your central nervous system. You're bringing yourself back to present moment. Because why we do this and why this matters, and I can guarantee if you commit to doing MTMs in between every little task, I'm going to go here, I'm going to breathe before I go eat dinner. After I get done eating dinner, I'm going to do a deep breath, do the same thing, MTM, before our body worker, gets here and is doing some energy work on him later. Then after bed, whatever, going to do laundry before I go do dishes. Gift yourself with that, because what's going to happen is at the end of the day, you're going to be happier. You're going to be more rested. You're going to be more peaceful. You're going to be regulated. You're going to be proud of yourself. But what won't happen is if you do that and you get that frantic day, what happens is we drag the energy from everything. You get in the car, go to the grocery store, somebody cuts you off. What happens? Central nervous system. Anger frequencies, right? Emotion. Then you don't clear that energy by an MTM, and then you get into the parking lot, you go into the grocery store, you're a vibrational match, law of vibration. Sorry, I'm trying to look at all y'all's faces. Y'all are so cute. Okay. You're going to attract something. Then somebody hits your cart. You check out your grocery lady's rude because she's having a bad day and she hasn't been doing her MTMs or divine feminine work or spiritual awakening work. She doesn't know about the soul up way yet. She's cranky, so she pisses you off even more. Central nervous system. Get in the car, drive home, vibrational match. Somebody cuts you off again. You get in the garage, you unload the groceries, you drop the bag with the eggs in it, cracks open. You get inside, Your kids want to see mommy, 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 what'd you get me? Quit it right now. Not right now. Ugh. Guilt, shame, sadness. But what would happen if you created your own energetic signature by becoming present? If you would have just breathed and not rushed, you wouldn't have been like this to get the bag, drop the eggs. If you just breathe and not rush on that frantic first day that I told you about getting pulled over, all that, you only would have been 5 minutes late instead of 20. MTMs are life-changing if you use them. If you take away anything from that, I want you to incorporate this tonight. Okay. Start incorporating it. So another pillar is that central nervous system. Okay. I want to talk to you. Let me move this really quick. I've got a little bullet point and I want to make sure that I don't forget that, but I want to go straight into CNS now that we're talking about it. Okay. Because we got a couple more pillars, but they're quick. Okay. So now that we're talking about your central nervous system, that's one of the pillars, is regulating your central nervous system and somatic work. How many of you know what somatic work is? You can say yes or no or an emoji. So our central nervous system, the premise of the Soul Up Way and this healing journey and, you know, going from hustle to harmony, the whole premise is to create a new baseline for you through healing limiting beliefs, through the divine feminine activation work, through all of this work, right? The conscious relationships, creating safety. And it's through regulating our central nervous system. And the central nervous system is responsible and includes receiving, processing, responding all to our sensory information. Right? And so if we'd experienced any kind of trauma, which, hello, I don't care who you are. I don't care how great your childhood was. I don't care if it's big T, little t, trauma is trauma. And everybody, and this is something really important, and I'm very passionate about this because I have a lot of clients that have said to me, Echo, I feel guilty for talking about this because I know how much you've been through and my pain's nothing compared to your pain. Excuse me? That is a big no in my world. Because how I explain it is that was my soul contract. I was built for that level of, and to you, it seems like a lot, but for somebody else, they might have experienced a whole different experience, but that trauma and that response and that program was downloaded in them. And that feels like the worst trauma, or it feels really heavy. Everybody's perception and level of tolerance is different, and everybody's perceived level of pain is different, no greater or less. I've worked with clients that didn't feel good enough, and it goes back to their little sister getting a shirt at a, part of the core root of it when we do the limiting belief work is like this little sister got a shirt at the store one day and her mom told her no. And she immediately didn't feel good enough in that moment. That program set. And then guess what? She ran on that program her entire life. Felt like she lived in her sister's shadow her entire life. Always played small because she didn't feel like she was good enough. That's how sneaky these subconscious and limiting beliefs can be. And that's how painful they can be, because what that did for that client was led to a whole lot of vibrational matches for people treating her like she wasn't good enough. Until she did this work. And you can tell if your central nervous system is dysregulated. All of ours gets dysregulated at some point, but I'm talking if you're in that energy and you know that this is like, there's another way and you're stuck in a dysregulated state, you're going to constantly feel on edge, overwhelmed. How I explain it is that twinge right here in the heart and the solar plexus. You're snappy, you're irritable, you're reactive. You're the mom that's like, ah! Or the spouse that's like, ah, or the one flipping people off on the, side of the road. For me, it came in the way in a big physical way because I let it get so bad, is chronic pain and illness. Mine was neurological Lyme disease. I no longer have neurological Lyme disease through this journey of healing and this path. Very, very extra sensitive to any kind of stimulation you can't handle. Now, this can be also a psychic thing, but you can't handle like your kids, loud noise, loud crowds, all of that. It puts you into a panic. You don't sleep good. You're always tired. You can't concentrate. These are all signs that you're not in a regulated state, right? There's a lot more, but through the somatic work, through, I've been doing somatic work for, I'd say, a decade. I became a transformational life coach 13 years ago. I started doing, some breath work here and there and some inner child work about 10 years ago, but 6 years ago is when I really dove into somatic work. And then to add to my plethora of all these random certifications, I just finished a month ago my somatic practitioner certification for my own healing, for the own trauma I was dealing with in the last year, and dove deeper so that I can help my clients. Because a lot of this somatic healing that we get to do, which is coming into the soma, which is healing literally from the inside out, reprogramming, dismantling how we are processing and how we are wired, the fight or flight. Something happens, we're triggered. One of my good friends, he's a breathwork facilitator, and breathwork, somatics is not just breathwork. Breathwork is a modality of the whole of somatics. But he said something really powerful, and I thought it was a really beautiful way to talk about how we reprogram ourselves and dismantle these programs through somatic work and through regulating the central nervous system. And he said, if you didn't have a trigger, then they couldn't push your button and trigger you. And that's what this work can do for you, especially a lot of the somatic work. If somebody would have told me 6 years ago, I'm trying to think of what would have triggered me 6 years ago. If, let's just say, somebody wanted to talk about my childhood 6 years ago, wanted me to give them details of my childhood, what I endured as a child, and even throughout a lot of my life, as far as sexual abuse. Instant. It's like the triggers, the buttons were pushed. I wasn't mad, but I would be instantly activated. But now I can talk about all that without feeling the slightest twinge in my heart. Because I've regulated, I've done the somatic work to heal from the inside out. Somatics include parts work, which I associate a lot with just the inner child work, nurturing that little girl within you that's actually the one freaking out. That's actually the one that's unhappy. It's the little girl deep down that's screaming for your attention. Somatics is also breath work, which is a powerful modality. And we do a lot of breath practice in the sola. Shaking, which is one of my favorite. Okay, intentional shaking the energy. You're going to learn all about these. Sacred rage, which is also a favorite. Setting up safe space to express rage and to get it out of our physical bodies, to move the energy, to reprogram, and a lot more, right? But the somatic work is there to really help you, what I say, heal from the inside out, to reprogram. And a lot of the parts work we do in the somatic journey has a lot to do with reframing those limiting beliefs, drawing out those subconscious beliefs, bringing it all to the light, and rewriting and reprogram. Because we're all running on a program, every single one of us, all the time. But it's either you deciding to run on the program that was implanted into you, the many programs that were implanted into you from a childhood, from society, from the internet, or you do this work to then reprogram yourself to run on your program and your soul's purpose, your soul's mission, your soul's blueprint, right? But slowing down, again, is the biggest part of this journey, because we want you to create a new baseline. What used to trigger me, it would take, if at all, magnitudes of it to trigger me now. Right? And so as we do this work, we heal the buttons so there's no buttons to push. My clients and the women in my community say it all the time. If this would, I can't tell you how many times I've heard, if this would have happened a year or two ago, I would have responded a whole other way. Right? That's the journey. Another pillar, and we're wrapping up here, I promise. We might go a little bit over 90 minutes, but I promise it'll be worth it for all the surprises. Alchemy. And I'm not going to dive too deep into this, but I want you to know alchemy is a spiritual modality that works with the light, right? It is a spiritual awakening process. It's bringing high frequencies like love and bliss and joy and all these things in to disintegrate low frequencies. Now, I do teach more in-depth alchemy, creating 12D fractal energetic designs, you know, all of these things. But and how I like to teach alchemy, which you will learn through this process, is taking the spiritual teachings and implementing them into the 3D, again, being the bridge, right? And then also with that, the last two pillars, if you will, of this journey are meditations and activations. Creating meditations is one of my favorite things, and creating activations is one of my favorite things, because I actually then go through them myself. Meditation is not required for you to go from hustle to harmony. But if you do anything, do the MTMs. The activation work is just a part of heightened alchemy, heightened energetics, right? And all of this combined that we've talked about tonight is the Soul Up way, right? I want to show you the deck and tell you the surprises that I have for you. But first, I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to close your eyes. If you can. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to take a few deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. On the inhale, expanding the belly. On the exhale, softening the belly. Allowing yourself to be really present right now. I was going to turn on some music, but I don't trust that it's not going to go crazy. So we're just going to do it this way. And as you close your eyes, I want you to feel on an overall like the overall aspect of your life, relationships, business, motherhood, friendships, whatever it is. And I want you to just kind of rate yourself on a 1 to 10. 1 being not great at all, 10 being the closest you can get to perfection. We don't believe in perfection here, but what is it, 1 to 10? And just keep that in your mind. You can tell me after. Staying in your breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. No judgment, just witnessing where you're at. There's no judgment here for yourself. It just is what it is in this moment. Now, as you take the focus of your breath to your heart, I want you to ask yourself and envision where you want to be in a year from now. How does she look? How does she feel? What is she doing? How's her central nervous system? How's her sex life? If you could dream up any place and version of you and how you want to feel in a year from now, I want you to envision her. And then without judgment, I want you to pick 2 things that she's doing differently than you do right now. Without judgment, just witnessing 2 things that she does, that she's in that place where you want to be. And just allow yourself to be and witness to that. And now in the next few inhales and exhales, dropping that energy from your heart down into your root. And the best practice, the physical practice to do that is in through the nose, expanding the belly, out through the mouth, and inside your mouth, just make sure that your jaw's loose and your tongue's loose inside your mouth, and feel that exhale and that energy go down your spine into the root, into the bottom of your spine, into your buttocks. If you need to do a sigh, do a sigh. And now open your eyes. And if you feel like sharing your number now and anything from that experience of what she was doing that you're not doing, that maybe you want to start doing, right? Gaining that awareness. There's zero judgment.
No, thank you very much. I really appreciate your helping.
Trying to get my chat open here. There we go. 477456737837837. Henry said, smile bigger is what your future self will be doing. I love that. Thank y'all for your honesty. I would say that right now I'm at a 7. And the reason I'm at a 7 is because, number one, I don't believe in perfection, and I know what I'm capable of. And I'm very embodied in my work, but because of the portal I've just walked through in the last month and a half and how everything has changed in my entire life in the last month and a half, I know that I've got some deeper embodiment work to do to get to that 9 or that 10. It's beautiful. So now I want to start to share the surprises with you. And the first thing that I want to share is that everything that I just gave little droplets of, that is the Soul Up way. And if you follow me on social media or you're brand new to my world, Soul Up is my baby and has been my baby for 4 years. And it is the mission of why I'm here, to help women come back to themselves, lead themselves back to their power and sovereignty. And a month and a half ago, we decided that it's not just Soul Up. Soul Up movement is the movement, but my community and my membership and my teachings has always just gone in Soul Up, right? But I realized that this is a way of being. This is a way of life. And so it is the official relaunch and rebrand of the Soul Up way. And I've been in tears, I swear, for the last month and a half, excited about this, because we have changed everything in how we're delivering all of this. We have organized it in a way that is so beautiful and so powerful and so seamless. And so with the Soul Up way, I'm going to tell you all the goodies and surprises and show you the deck and all the things, but I want to just share with you the Soul Up way, what you get with that if you decide to join us, because we've made it really accessible in a lot of ways: price, organized, structure, everything. But you get a portal with over 100 hours of my teachings, wisdom and practices, knowledge, tangible resources, tools, tips, tricks. And you don't have to let that overwhelm you, because we're all about a calm CNS here. It's all self-paced, all organized beautifully. You can find exactly what you know you need to dive into. These transmissions are exactly the outlines and teachings that I have not only embodied and done myself, but I've been teaching for 4 years, but I've been doing for 6. And they take you from that A to Z point. They take you from that hustle to that harmony. And it includes all of the things we just talked about, all the pillars we just talked about. Okay. And it's super streamlined. And it's super accessible now. Oh, that makes me so happy, Alexandra. I just joined I joined Soul Up a few months ago, and it's the best decision I've ever made for myself. It's worth the journey. Beautiful community. Wow. Alexandra. I'm like, I've been waiting to cry the whole time. And I'm like, oh, there it is. I just love my community. So it comes with over 100 hours of all the teachings, trainings, everything outlined and organized for you. You want to tap into divine feminine work? Boom, got you, right? And actually, I didn't prepare this. So I'll do that at the very end. If you want to see, I'll log into the portal and show you how streamlined it is, especially for my OG Soul Up women. Cause I have women that have been with me going on 3-4 years, because as I evolve and grow, my teachings evolve, transcend, and grow. And so we're always we're always evolving together. So you also get a private sacred sisterhood community that we call the Soul Up Way Sanctuary now. And it's going to be off Facebook, actually. It's going to be on Mighty Networks, which we'll get all the details about. We're going to do monthly live Q&As. Okay, so you get to ask me anything. We'll do live activations if you have a question, all the things. And then, of course, the Soul Up Way gets exclusive opportunities, first in the know. You know, we're going to, anytime, how this is going to work is you've got over those 100 hours of everything organized beautifully. Oh, geez, yeah. But then what's going to happen is I'm going to be dropping content and then just letting you know. So it's like, if I have a big download for a teaching on something with divine feminine, I'm going to do it. You're going to get an email. You're going to get the information in the community. Hey, there's a new teaching on this, or I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to go live. We're going to talk about this. And I'm always going to be listening to y'all and what you're needing too. Okay. A broadcast channel, which I'm actually very excited about and I've never done before, a broadcast channel in Voxer. So we're going to have a group Voxer where nobody else can talk, but you can hear me and listen and receive any downloads, activations, transmissions that I want to drop weekly for you. I channel a lot. So I drop into my channel and I can just speak from the light. And when I'm channeling, it's like, I'm going to be just dropping in. If I get an inspirational download hit, it's like, I'm going to share it with y'all, right? If I see something for the collective container, it's like, whoop, in, okay? And so this sacred space, the Soul Up Way, like I said before, I truly believe it's for a woman on any of her journey, from the busy mom to the entrepreneur to the woman in her 20s wanting to make sure she don't do it messed up like some of us have. Everybody, right? And the number one reason that I hear that people don't get started, well, there's a few reasons, is they don't believe in themselves, which is why you need to step forward and do it. And you don't know where to start, which is what I'm here for. And I'm about to tell you another really beautiful bonus for y'all to help you with that, and the price, which I'm going to tell you about in a second, which is why I made this really freaking accessible price-wise. But I can believe in you for you, but I can't believe in you more for you than you do for you, right? I believe in you. I believe in all the women in my world. I believe in the women of the world have the power to make drastic changes, to make transformation. This is the time that we are being called as the divine feminine to rise. Because when we rise, the entire planet rises. The divine masculine is called to rise. We heal Gaia. We heal the collective. This work is needed. It just is. Okay, before I start crying. So tonight and for just the next 3 days, okay, until the end of this month, I have a special offer for you, a couple special offers and some bonuses to tell you about, okay? The first is what I talked about. I don't know where to start. When you sign up for the Soul Up Way, you're going to fill out a form that you get, and I'm going to send you some notes and a personalized roadmap for your journey, where you should start, certain programs, mastery sessions, activations to tap into a personalized roadmap for your journey. Okay. And because I know that my spiritual awakening and all of this energetic woo-woo, like energy stuff is such and I say that very off the cuff, obviously, is a pivotal piece of this journey. I'm also gifting you a year of the activation portal. So the activation portal is my community that I pour into on all things energy and spiritual, all the things. So you get monthly energy readings, you get forecasts, you get new moon and full moon energy readings. If there's like some solar flare that's coming in hot, retrograde, we talk about it in the activation portal. Okay. Also, as a bonus for the Soul Up Way, if you enroll with us and join us on this journey until the end of the month, I'm also hosting one of my powerful activations. And if you haven't been a part of one of my activation sessions yet, I encourage you to join. And we're going to be doing that on October 2nd, just for those of you that registered by the end of the month, and a replay if you can't make it. But these activations are filled with alchemical energy healing, powerful transformation codes, source code. It's when people walk through these activations, because I'm in my channel and I'm completely channeling through. I usually don't know what I'm saying till after. It's a healing, transformative experience, even if you don't fully understand what's being said. It's pure energy and they're beautiful. Okay. Beautiful. So, like I said, you get all of that. There's two more things that you're going to get access to, but before, these are kind of extras. The deck and this other thing are kind of extras. You get the activation portal, you get all the things for a year, and Soul Up Way is a year commitment. You can pay monthly or pay in full. Okay. And what I'm saying with my OGs here, y'all know what I'm saying. I'm going back to OG pricing. So the energetic exchange for this, because energy is money, and you can dive into all of that in the Healing the Hustle pillar, it's only $55 a month or $555 for the entire year. Okay. And it is for you if you are desiring that transformation from the inside out. You're desiring that sacred sisterhood, knowing that you're not alone. The sisterhood and the community is one of the most pivotal parts of this journey. It is cray-cray. Back to OG prices. And for reference, Soul Up has been $333 a month for that $222. And then, so we've grown over the last 4 years. But I wanted to make it accessible because I know that my journey here as a spiritual leader and a divine feminine embodiment mentor and a guide is to make this accessible to the masses for the women. Because we need it so bad at this time on this planet. We need women coming back to their power and knowing who they are. We need women knowing that they are not what the world tells them they should be. We need women leading missions and running businesses from a place of alignment and abundance and not scarcity and hustle and lack. We need women being better mothers for the next generation. And that happens when you come home to your absolute truth. So just to recap, 1 year of the Soul Up Way, you get the Soul Up Way portal with over 100 transmissions, teachings. You get the Soul Up Way Sanctuary, which is our sacred sisterhood community. You get the Voxer broadcast channel, which is where I'm going to be dropping those activations, right? You get a personalized roadmap from me, okay? All of this is valued, right? Like this is tons and tons of value. You get a personal roadmap. I'm going to sit at my computer and read your form. And I might even have to ask you some questions back and give you a roadmap for your journey. You get a year-long membership to the activation portal. You get the bonus activation session happening on October 2nd, all for $55 a month or $555 paid in full. So you really have two options today. First option is take this for what it was, take what you want, leave the rest, do nothing, keep on the same path, try to YouTube some stuff, whatever. Or it's to borrow my faith in you to jump in and watch the transformation of your life being created with the radical responsibility that you take. Okay. We're going to drop the link in the comments too before I go on to these surprises. I'm going to tell you. So we can drop the Soul Up Way link. Okay. And now I'm going to tell you about the 2 other surprises. So don't check out just yet because there is one of the surprises. I'll start with that. We'll do the deck at the end. Okay. I need to figure out how I'm going to show you all the deck, honestly, because of this camera. So one of the surprises I want to go ahead and just get out of the way is if you want to be a part of the Soul Up Way, but you're like, okay, I'm going to get the roadmap. That's cool. I'm going to get all this stuff, but I would love for Echo to guide me, to mentor me, to support me, to really dive deep into what it is I really need that can't really be told just in a form. So I have an exclusive one-on-one option at checkout for 1 hour with me at half price of what it normally would be. Okay. For 1 hour with me to mentor you, to guide you, to really set you up for that next level in the Soul Up Way journey. Okay. We will do alchemical energy healing. We will do somatic work. We will do inner child work. We'll do whatever you need, business mentorship, do it all to really set you on the right path. And then we'll deepen what your roadmap needs to be in that Soul Up Way portal with those 8 pillars. Okay. So you'll see that at checkout. But first, I want to show you this, and I'm trying to figure out. So this is, I was like, Danny should help me. Let me see if I can get up. Or I can see me get up. So this is my dream come true. The Soul Up Way. We're gonna send y'all are gonna get the link to this too. The Soul Up Way Ascension Oracle deck. And it has a beautiful guidebook. This is like legit, y'all. And this is my creation that I have been working with and working on for a long time now. And the reason I'm showing it to you and this beautiful deck is because one of the bonuses and specials for y'all is that you get access to it before the public. It's not launching to the public until October 1st, and you get it at a special price until the end of the month. This is usually going to be $25. Y'all are going to get it for $20. Okay. So Henry will drop the link underneath here too. Don't worry. You're going to get the Soul Up Way link and the deck link in your email, your replay email, and in a post in the groups. And so you don't have to worry about missing a link, right? Okay. Now, if you are still here, I want you to close your eyes one more time. I know we're excited about the deck. We're excited about signing up. Some of y'all are probably not even right here. Okay. But you can come back to this. I want you to close your eyes. I want you in through the nose, out through the mouth, breathe into your heart. And I just want you to listen to me and breathe. And in your mind's eye, I want you to ask yourself, what do I really desire? Where do I want to be a year from now? Is any of the stuff that I'm stressing about right now, the stories I'm telling myself, the hustle, the money I'm chasing, the Instagram happiness I'm chasing, is any of that going to matter on my deathbed? What really matters to me right now? I want you to just breathe into kind of all those answers and that energy. And I just want to remind you, with your eyes closed and in your breath, I just want to remind you that you get to write this story. How are you going to write your story every day? What are you going to take radical responsibility for today? What are you going to commit to today that you'll be proud of tomorrow? How are you writing your story every day in a way that you'll be proud of at the end of each night? Because what is it worth if we're not happy, if we're not at peace, if we're not in love? Just breathe into that. And I just want to remind each of you that you're worthy of everything that you desire. I'm living proof that you can come from the darkest depths of despair, where things seem hopeless and helpless, to the light, to a life of happiness and ease and grace and joy and play and fun and success and abundance and pleasure. But it took me committing to this journey 6 years ago to get there. It didn't happen by accident. It took me taking responsibility for my life and my decisions. Because if I could take responsibility for what was, then I could take responsibility for the successes and the happiness and the joy and the love to come. And you're worthy of it all. You can open your eyes. And I just want all of you to know that I see you, I hear you, I love you. If you have any questions, like I said, you're going to be getting an email with all of this information, the replay, the links for the Soul Up Way, for the deck, for the information. If you have any questions, you can respond to those emails. We'll get back to you. We're also going to make posts in the group. Thank you for spending this evening with me. And you said I cried. That was beautiful. I am shocked that I did not cry more, but I think I have it coming right after I hit close on this and I go hug my boys. But it was my pleasure and honor to spend this time with y'all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and participating and committing to yourself to be here, whether live or the replay. I'm just honored to be in your vortex. Okay. I love y'all and I will talk to you soon. Bye, loves.